Rome's humble beginning from a small village to its conversion to the Byzantine Empire and its fall provides a view of how political corruption and weak leadership can weaken a powerful civilization. So what exactly led to Rome's downfall? What mistakes sealed its fate? Because it's the time to face the inevitable, the downfall of the Roman Empire. It is not a sudden earthquake, but a slow step down toward the fall. We can also say that its destiny-planned steps contributed to the collapse of the Roman Empire. It's a death by 1,000 cuts. It's a superpower, a civilization that has dominated the world for centuries, not simply fade away. There is not a single cause. It's a list of causes and situations that brought Rome to its knees. It is a confluence of factors, a perfect storm of internal weaknesses and external pressure. There is not a single answer, of course. The collapse of Rome is a complicated, miscellaneous event. It's a historical puzzle that has confused scholars for centuries. But as we look deeper, a certain key theme appears. The causes of a fall are not limited to just one thing. It's a series of issues that lead to the end. One of the most significant factors is political instability. The Roman Empire, particularly in its later years, is plagued by civil wars, palace interests, and a rapid succession of emperors, many of whom are incompetent or corrupt. The emperor's place is never secure. Political factions and fights. The Praetorian Guard starts playing kingmaker. The Senate loses its influence. With each change, it became harder to plan for Rome's long-term issues because of the power changes too often. 69 CE, the year of 4 emperors, in which 4 emperors claimed the throne in a single year. This power struggle throws the Roman Empire into chaos, leading to political instability and violence. Similarly, the crisis of the 3rd century is a time when the empire was almost near of falling. It is the period that included consistent civil wars, attacks by barbarian tribes, and multiple economic collapses that weakened the empire's roots. These problems were resolved by the passage of time, but still reflected deeper problems within the empire's structure. It becomes a political system that struggles to handle the challenges of ruling such a vast and complicated land. However, the repeated problems and rapid changes of emperors slow the empire's growing ability, which leads to disorder in the maintenance of stability. The economy, which was once known as a powerhouse of trade routes and innovation in different sectors, began to decline slowly in the later centuries of the empire. Inflation is out of control, and common people hardly make ends meet. Trade routes are disrupted due to the continuous barbarian raids, and the government puts a burden of heavy taxes on the farmers and common citizens. The situation of the economy is at the point where the rich become richer and the poor become poorer. This leads to the great division of classes in society, and the division reaches the point where there is no path to go back. The government becomes ineffective, or we can say that everyone is finding their way to survive. The devaluation of the Roman currency was a particularly damaging blow, as the emperors debased the coins by adding less or less silver to each coin. Through this, prices go to the highest level, and the confidence in the economy plummets. Also, trade disruption limits the flow of goods and reduces wealth across society. Reliance on slave labor declined cities and weakened production and growth, making it difficult for the economy to resolve economic and social crises. So it leads to hoarding, speculation, and a general sense of economic uncertainty. As the economy is struggling, the empire shrinks because it is harder to keep things going when you can't pay bills. Military overstretching is another cause that led to the decline of the empire. The Roman army, once known for its disciplined manner and effective fighting force in the world, is stretched thin while defending the empire's vast borders. Also, barbarian attacks became more continuous and harmful, and the imperial army found it increasingly difficult to fight and defend back such a strong and large force. The number of barbarians became very large as compared to the Roman army. However, the government didn't pay well to the imperial army force, which is why many of them stopped serving in the military, while others were not encouraged to defend the borders. Roman legions became less effective due to poor training and discipline, weakening their ability to defend. Over time, Rome increasingly depends on mercenaries, hiring foreign soldiers who lack loyalty to Rome. So yes, it is a perfect time and situation for any army to start losing battles. The great Roman war machine begins to fail. as many soldiers stopped serving in the military, so the recruitment of barbarian soldiers into the Roman army is also a particularly troubling sign. These soldiers are skilled but only loyal to their people. Their existence weakens the Roman character of the army and creates greater opportunities for disloyalty and revolution. As the empire and its economy become weak, the army force becomes more of a warning than a loyal protector. Additionally, environmental changes also play a significant role in the downfall of Rome. Seems like nature gives a sign before it falls. Logging, soil waste, and climate change all took part in the decline of the Roman Empire. As lands become less fertile, food production decreases, and the agriculture sector becomes less productive, leading to food shortages and social unrest. It seems like little things, but they make a huge difference at the end of the day. The impact of increasing disease cannot be ignored and plays a vital role in the collapse of the empire. The Antonine Plague in the 2nd century CE and the Plague of Cyprian in the 3rd century CE decimated the imperial population, weakening the empire's economy and military as well. These plagues are particularly devastating in urban centers, where disease spreads rapidly due to fewer facilities. The disease makes everything else worse. It hits all the parts of Rome that are already struggling and takes away the ability of Rome to fight back. However, the most indirect factor of the empire's fall is civic morality. As the Roman Empire grows wealthier and more corrupt, its citizens become less willing to sacrifice for the common good. Corruption becomes out of control, and the pursuit of personal fame and pleasure takes precedence over public service. Also, Rome gradually lost its traditional values such as virtue, courage, and excellence, pietas, duty and loyalty, and gravitas, seriousness and responsibility. As the empire expanded, it faced internal struggle. Wealth and luxury from conquered lands lead to greed and corruption, weakening the moral foundation of the society. Over time, key values, which once gave direction to Rome's leaders and citizens, became less important, helping the empire's fall in its unity and strength. So the Romans became more self-centered and greedy. They lost the vision of their ideals that once made Rome a symbol of greatness. Overall, the loss of traditional values and corruption make things more confusing, and now it's harder for people to believe in any emperor. Moreover, the rise of Christianity is another factor, making it difficult for the empire to stand. While Christianity provides a new source of moral direction and social unity, it also challenges traditional Roman beliefs and practices. It's not that Christianity is unfair, but it takes away Rome from its foundation, and people stop honoring the old Rome. However, Emperor Constantine's conversion to Christianity in the 4th century proved to be a turning point. Christianity rose to become the state religion and gradually replaced the traditional Roman temple. So its influence completely and moving belief systems remained difficult to measure, yet contributed to the fall of the empire. Also, the partition of the Roman Empire into western and eastern parts in 395 CE is another critical moment. While the partition is intended to make the empire more manageable, it ultimately weakens both parts, making them more unsafe and open to barbarian attacks. Also, internal difficulties and external pressure are the main reasons for the fall of the Western Empire in 476 CE, when the barbarian general brought down the last emperor. On the other hand, the Eastern Empire continues to grow for thousands of years, maintaining Roman traditions and culture in the East. In contrast, the Eastern Empire fell due to several reasons, such as constant wars and outside forces, particularly the Ottoman Turks, which weakened its military strength. Again, the political instability makes the government ineffective. Economic problems and heavy taxes reduce trade and also affect the empire's finances. Also, the religious separation helped to bring on internal conflict. And finally, the fall of Constantinople took place in 1453. But the story of Rome is not only about disasters, but it also speaks of the incredible strength, inspiring change, and lasting legacy that continues to echo across the centuries. Even in its twilight, Rome produces thinkers, artists, and leaders. The sounds of Roman law, architecture, language, and political ideas continue to shape our modern world. The Roman Empire, once a powerful civilization, has disappeared into the pages of history. But its story continues to resonate. The leaders, laws, women, generals, and common citizens are the main characters of this story. Rome's history includes ambition, betrayal, heroism, and corruption. The empire stands as the symbol of greatness, and its downfall teaches us what mistakes we should avoid. The buildings they construct, the ideas they debate, and the laws they create remain a part of our history and will last forever. The past can be a mirror where we can see ourselves more clearly. We can conclude that Rome's influence continues to influence not through armies, but through ideas. Rome may fall, but its legacy is alive. Do you see its marks in our laws, architecture, and politics today?